going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome into Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Chris Meaney. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out. 8 games on the ice today. We're going to break it all down with Eric Young. He's hanging by. We got some DFS picks. We got some props, all that good stuff as well. If you're a season-long player and you're looking for some waiver wire rankings, a lot of studs who have popped up on the waiver wire just recently, well, you can check out ftnfantasy.com. Use that promo code Meaney. I have rest of the season rankings, 4-game streams, who to drop, who to add, who to cut. Buy low, sell high. Heck, there's even a team playing 5 games this week that you may want a piece of if you're playing in head-to-head matchups. But right now, it is time for the Prize Picks play of the day. Just a little refresher here on the scoring. 3 points for a goal, 2 for an assist, half a point for a shot, half a point for a block. Get a deposit match of up to $100 by following the link in the description. Make sure you are subscribed to the Mayo Media Network and like this video, and maybe check out prizepicks.com. Leave your favorite play in the comment section. We'll circle back closer to puck drop. So I'm going back to Jonathan Huberdeau. It worked out for us on Friday. His total here is 3 against the Dallas Stars. Again, just a recap. I just feel like this is a guy who just gets disrespected in the fantasy community. I'm always going to jump on the 3. I know he's not a big volume shooter here, but like I said, he got it last time. If we get a goal, we're right there. If you get an assist and a couple shots, we're right there as well. He's got 7 goals and 22 points in 16 games this season. This guy was top 10 in scoring last year. The year before that, he was right there as well. 7 points in his past 4 games, 10 in his last 7. Dallas has lost 5 straight games, 7 of 8. They haven't played in over a week. February 13th, the last time that they've hit the ice. So this Florida team is scoring goals. Huberdeau looks really, really good. Kevin Fiala is, 3.9. I think it's a little low. Yeah, up against the Sharks here. It's another guy who's hanging around the waiver wire. Minnesota went forever without playing. He was dropped in DFS. His price was down, and now his price is up. But Prize Picks here putting him at 3.9. I think it's fairly low. 3 goals and 4 points in his past 2 games. Got 10 shots on goal over that span as well. This is a little bit about the Sharks as it is Kevin Fiala. I like Fiala. He gets a lot of ice time. He's on that top line, top power play time, loves to shoot the puck. That's what I'm kind of going for here with these Prize Picks plays. But I look at the Sharks at 5-on-5 per 60 minutes. According to Natural Stat Trick, they're top 10 in every metric that I'm looking at here, and not in a good way. They've allowed the 9th most shots, the 7th most shot attempts, 4th in goals against, 8th most scoring chances, and the 6th most high danger chances. Look at Minnesota at 5-on-5. They're second in the NHL in creating high danger chances at 5-on-5 per 60 minutes. That's shots in the slot where the goals happen for the most part. And they're 12th in shots for, scoring chances for, and goals for. A couple more. Braden Shen over 3.6 and under 4.4 for Max Pacioretty. Check out prizepicks.com. Let's bring in Eric Young. Eric, what's up? Happy Monday, buddy. How are you doing?
Christopher, love the Huberdeau pick. I think he's top 5 left wing in the league, and nobody talks about him because he plays in Florida. He will probably start on the left wing for Team Canada for the Olympic team in China. Like, just completely disrespected as a player, not talked about enough. Barkov is the same way. I mean, I know lots of people are talking about him. I mean, you've been talking about him for years, but the truth is they play in Florida where they're just not a relevant team anywhere, it seems. I don't know why that is, but people better pencil it in because the Florida Cats are for real right now, man. It's wild. And of course, Chris Driedger is the one carrying the load there with the backup Bobrovsky making $10 million.
Yeah, of course.
What a world.
Yeah, what a world. Bobrovsky, it's okay, man. Enjoy the sun, put the feet up, put the hands behind the head, and watch Driedger take the net here and there. I was looking to see if he would get the start tonight. Nothing is official. We're going pretty early here this morning, so I don't know. I don't think he'll go, but he has been playing recently. Like, he is in this world in fantasy and season long, with all the games postponed and most teams going back and forth between goalies. You and I have talked about this before. I think it's important to at least have 3. He's probably one you want to have if he's hanging around the waiver wire. He's been really, really strong. Speaking of the waiver wire, anybody that I know on Monday morning you like to scan, take a couple, use a couple of your ads already on a Monday morning. Anyone jump out?
Yeah, I always try to go, kind of deep down the list for this for people that are listening. Season long is still my thing. Look, I live in Tennessee where sports gambling is consuming everybody. Like, it's it's insane. Like I had a couple of buddies up from my hockey team over on Saturday. We basically drank beer and watched hockey all day. And all we talked about all day was DraftKings or MGM, and they're pulling up things. My one buddy's betting on Russian women's basketball because he's got to make his money back. I mean, it's kind of out of control here. But anyways, if we're talking about guys to add season long, that's my thing. Brock McGinn. You guys were talking a little bit about Carolina. They're awesome right now. Brock McGinn is playing on the one of the top lines. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists in the last 7 days. And I think probably an average person doesn't even know who he is. So that's a good ad right now. He's been really, really good. So that would be my ad of the week because I think he'd be available in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, Brock McGinn. You're right. Before you got on, Maddie and I were talking a lot about Carolina. We'll get to them in a little bit. They are playing the Bolts again. Yeah, over at ftnfantasy.com, I was mentioning just the waiver wire article and stuff. There's several teams, 17 teams playing at least 4 games this week. There's a couple with just a handful of games like Vancouver and Winnipeg. So I think it's important to, if Andrew Kopp, for example, we were all over him a couple weeks ago, bumped down to the 3rd line. They had Pierre-Luc Dubois playing with Wheeler and Scheifele last night. So Andrew Kopp is somebody that I would drop, only playing 2 games for, somebody maybe potentially playing 5 games like a Sam Reinhart. If he's hanging around your waiver wire, the Sabres got 5 games this week. Just a couple I wanted to throw out there. We'll get to Fiala in a little bit, but his ownership under 60%, Kyle Palmieri, Niederreiter, Dustin Brown, Jordan Kyrou, Reinhardt, I mentioned, Verhaeghe. These guys are all just hanging around waiver wires, and I'm not really sure why. Joel Farabee in there as well, Martin Necas. That's the line we'll get to in a little bit, but I really like what I've seen from Trocheck, Necas, and Niederreiter. We were joking about Niederreiter's shooting percentage, unsustainable. A guy who couldn't find any puck luck at all last season, but he's had no issue finding the back of the net so far. So we'll get to Carolina in just a little bit. Check out that article. Use a promo code Meaney if you are into season-long hockey. All right, let's start with your Leafs. Let's start with the Maple Leafs. At home tonight against the Calgary Flames, 14-3-2, minus 159 on the money line. Using here DraftKings Sportsbook, 8-11 against the spread, 7-11 against the spread for the Flames, plus 135, 8-9-1. These two teams heading in opposite directions right now. The Leafs are absolutely rolling. They took care of the Habs on Saturday. They have themselves a 6-point cushion in the North. Well, Calgary has lost 3 straight. Eric, they had, Cam and I chatted on Friday about the coaches calling them out. I think the week before that, we were talking about a closed door meeting. They are struggling, and they're struggling to score goals where everybody else in the North, they're not. And Calgary, I think we talked about this last week on Wednesday. We had Cecil Peters jump in here. He's a big Flames guy, and I was just taking a look at the just their schedule and all their games. And it just seems to be 3 or fewer goals every single game for this team. I know they scored 6 against the Oilers a few games ago, but the Oilers went into Calgary and had their way with them. That absolutely crushed them the last game. Is there anything here you see for Calgary, a bounce back spot, or are we just rolling with the Leafs here?
I mean, I think it's too early. And we keep saying that. And every day we're closer and closer to the point we're going to have to be pulling the cord. But it's too early to trash them yet. They have personnel that can score. I think, me included, I thought Mangiapane and Dubé would make a jump this year and would supplement scoring. That hasn't happened at all. Their lines are all over the place. They're moving guys around. Right now they're missing Sean Monahan, which I think is a very underrated player for them. I understand that he may not be exciting and stuff, but I think Sean Monahan is the straw that stirs the drink there in Calgary. So, like you said, the Leafs are rolling. I do not expect that this is a bounce back game for Calgary tonight. Maple Leafs have been giving people fits, and they're first in every important category, and people in Leafs land are still complaining about stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy to be a Maple Leafs fan when they seem this good. It still does feel like a mirage because if you've been a Maple Leafs fan for any amount of time, you're just not sure what to believe.
No, well, We'll believe it, buddy.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
they're rolling right now for sure. I don't know. Do we go back to this Austin Matthews? I mean, the first goal here is plus 650. Matty Best, let's bring you in, buddy. I thought he wouldn't be 650 on Friday, wasn't, or on, I think on Wednesday, wasn't he around 500? I mean, he's 650. He scored the first goal in 4 straight games for the
I
Leafs.
definitely thought going into this game he'd be like plus 350 for that first goal. It makes no sense that he's still this high. I mean, his 2-score prop is now minus 130, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But the plus 650 doesn't make sense to me, which is why I will go back to it as a first goal.
I mean, why not? I guess let's ride this out. Like plus 650, as much as these first goals, like a lot has to go your way. Obviously, it's tough to hit these, and I usually don't bother with it. Plus 650. I've never seen anyone creep into the plus 500 range, and I swear we saw that last week. But maybe it was a different book. But for DraftKings plus 650, I mean, it's minus 130 for a goal. I mean, why not? Right? He's just scoring. He's got 18 on the year. He's scoring. The Leafs power play is absolutely deadly. That's how they got by the Habs again. I feel like it's just a 5-on-3 and it's game over. It's like GG. Good luck. You're not stopping them on the 5-on-3. And he had 2 power play goals in that game. One on the 5-on-3 and one on the 5-on-4. So I mean, minus 130 for somebody to score is not something I'd ever suggest really, but he just keeps scoring. So if you're into making just single props or you want to get involved with maybe 2 or 3 goals, we'll roll through some first goals here that I think that you can take anytime goals to and just have them in there. But I'm not really seeing a whole lot from this game. I don't really want to get involved with 2 points, 2-point prop, shots on goal. Guys are juiced up here. I like Matthew Tkachuk a bit. He's minus 162 it's kind of high for 2.5 shots. Some books you can get him maybe minus 140. Take a look at him. He's the one flame that I don't mind going to every single time for shots. You're right. Monahan out is hurting. He's questionable here to suit up tonight. Mangiapane has scored the past couple games, but he's not a big volume shooter. Johnny Gaudreau, I can never get behind him either for shooting the puck. Lindholm was doing it a bit here and there, but Matthew Tkachuk, 7 shots in his last game. He's hit at least 3 shots in 6 straight games. So there's something there with Matthew Tkachuk, and that would be the line that I would attack if Monahan wasn't in the lineup, would be maybe Backlund and Mangiapane and Matthew Tkachuk. But I won't get involved with Matthews here. 3.5 minus 195. I just don't think there's any reason for it. If there was one Leaf I would pick, would probably be, what do you think, Matt? Marner or Tavares? I kind of lean Tavares too. And I know you've been burned by him, but I think that was just the one game. He's been pretty consistent putting the puck on net.
Yeah, out of the 2, I think I'd go with Tavares here. Because Marner, over his last 3 games, he's had 1 shot in 2 of them. So that's why I'm kind of off Marner there. But Mitchie's shooting the puck, and when he does, he's coming up with some highlight reel goals, which is really nice to see. But if I'm going for a safer shot prop here, give me JT. That second line looks pretty good with Kerfoot on it, and I'm not a big Kerfoot guy at all, but he just seems to be clicking. William Nylander getting benched for the last half of the third period in the last game. I'm looking forward to what Willie in the second line will do against the Flames. I think we'll get probably about a goal or 2 out of this second line, which is pretty gravy, if you ask me.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Eric, on this game? Willie Nylander is interesting in DFS just because of the prices dropped and he's not doing a whole lot. Then you have that bench thing happening.
Yeah, the benching worries me. I mean, does he go back on the second line? Does he continue to have power play time? I mean, it's wild to think that a player making that much money and has been that productive and is statistically still doing very well this season. I think I read a quote say Coach Keefe said he just saw some stuff that he didn't like. And I'm like, man, I don't
have
know.
anything to do with effort.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a lot of time, and I feel a lot of time it's undue. Like, one, that's not the kind of player he is. He's never been that player, and he's such a gliding skater. Sometimes it appears like he's not working hard, and I just don't think that's true all of the time. But anyways, I mean, for me, I'm basking in the glory of the delicious Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Number one. It's fun. It's fun for me right now because this is a rarity, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like you slept with a clothes hanger in your mouth. I can just hear the smile coming through the airwaves. I like the Leafs too. I mean, there's no reason for me to jump on Calgary, right? There's just none. I could potentially get behind the under here. It's not going to be for me, but we'll recap the picks at the very end. I do have some respect for Markstrom, even though he's been so. But Anderson's playing really good hockey too, right? And the Flames are just not scoring. So I definitely like the Leafs. Let's go to Carolina and Tampa. This is going to be a fun one. If you watched the other day, it was a great game, but our guy Nedeljkovic stole the show. He had the shutout. I don't know if they go back to him in this game, but if I'm Rod Brendamore, I'm thinking, why not? I know James Reimer is 8-1. His numbers are not phenomenal, but he's getting enough support from his team that he only has to, stop, don't let 4 pucks in, and we're going to get you the W. That's pretty much how it's gone for Carolina. They beat the Bolts 4-0 in that first meeting. They are home dogs here today, plus 106, 8-8 against the spread. Tampa minus 122, 8-11 total here at 6, 10-4-1 Tampa, 12-3-1 Carolina atop the Central Division. Of course, they played only one more game than the Bolts, but to me, they've looked like a better team. I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on Tampa here, but I know they were without Stamkos for a game or two last week. They're still obviously without Kucherov. They're going to have to get used to that. Anthony Cirelli is a guy that you and I both like. And when you take him out of the lineup for your second line center, and then all of a sudden Kucherov is not in the lineup, you're missing 2 decent players on that team. Carolina, man, they're just rolling. 4 lines. They all look really, really good. I absolutely love this second line. I call them the second line. You can call it 1B if you want. But Trocheck with Niederreiter and Necas, like Trocheck has 3 goals and 7 points. I mean, this guy's got 9 goals and 7 points in the season. We've talked about him at length, Eric, over the past couple of years doing shows together. A volume shooter, can contribute elsewhere if you're playing in leagues with hits, blocks, face-off wins, whatever. He does absolutely everything. He plays in all situations. He's got a goal in 3 straight games. He's got a point in 7 straight games. And Niederreiter has got 5 goals over his past 2 weeks, 9 on the season. And then I thought the best guy on that line the other night was Martin. And he's got 5 points in as many games. He's looking pretty good, man. I like the Hurricanes tonight.
Yeah, I like the Hurricanes too. And it's hard to even bet. Even with those players out, it's hard because you look at the Tampa Bay lineup, it's still good. I mean, Tyler Johnson has been effective this year. Killorn is an unbelievable player. They still have very good players. Palat's been very good. I understand that, their top players are not in. Cirelli becoming one of those guys. Kucherov, we're not going to see him in the regular season. Then they're going to get him in the playoffs, which seems unfair, but that's just how it works. They got Goodrow. They've got a bunch of guys that can get it done. Coleman. This is still a juggernaut team, even with those players out. But there's something about the Hurricanes this season, especially right now. There's these guys, like you said, Necas, Trocheck. I brought up Brock McGinn earlier. These are unknown players in the NHL, and they're producing game in and game out. This is a hard team to beat. And they're going to get Mrazek back, and his numbers were pretty decent before he got injured.
Yeah, they were. I think he's the one issue that maybe I have with the team, but it's a small issue. I really like them overall. I don't know if Teuvo Teravainen is going to play. If he doesn't, then he's up with your boy McGinn and then Aho and Svechnikov in there. But again, just these teams just played recently, so we have a little bit of data to go by. And I always like to bring up Natural Stat Trick and just take a look at the lines and 5-on-5 and the numbers. I mean, nobody played more minutes together than that trio of Niederreiter, Trocheck, and Necas. They had a line high 10 shots for. They scored a goal 5-on-5. They had 12 scoring chances for. No other line had more than 7. And I'm talking about Tampa Bay as well. Point Stamkos Palat had 7, and they had a goal against. High danger chances 5. No other line had more than 2, and that was with Carolina. There was the Killorn, Joseph, and Johnson line had 4 high danger chances for, but really they just didn't generate a whole lot else than that. So I like that line. We'll talk about them at the end. We can recap from a DFS standpoint. They're all fairly cheap except for Trocheck, but I know it's tough to beat a team like the Bolts to beat them again. We're seeing a lot of teams bounce back for the most part. And Tampa, as you said, they still have all the pieces in Vasilevsky and net, but I have a ton of respect right now for this Carolina team. Best, what do you think?
I said at the beginning of the show that I was probably going to stay away from this game. And you made a great case for the Hurricanes, but the Lightning, like you said, you got to put some respect on them as well. The one thing that I kind of want to go after is the over here. I don't know what about 6 overs makes me always want to go after it. I think it's the safety net that if the 6 hits, we just hang out and have a good time. But the over is what I'll probably go for here at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll lock that in at 6. I could see this bumping up to 6.5 by the time puck drop comes around. I also don't mind the Hurricanes puck line at plus 1.5 in parlays only. I won't take it as a single at minus 225, but if you're doing a puck line parlay, and certain books will give you a bonus if you do parlays, so that's something that I'll throw in there. Other than that, I just want to watch this game, man. I just want to sit back and enjoy it. There's a lot of goal scoring props that I probably will touch, sprinkle a few bucks here and there. I don't know how you don't go back to Mr. Nino Niederreiter, even though it's bizarre seeing him in the top 3 or top 5 of goals. So I'll probably have a couple dollars here and there. But other than that, I just want to watch this game.
Yeah, it should be highly entertaining. And again, yeah, it is weird. I will agree with both of you guys. It's really weird to see Nito Niederreiter there. I mean, he had 11 goals last season, but he had a career low shooting percentage, 9.6. His shooting percentage actually 18.4. I thought it was a little higher than that. But this is a guy in Minnesota who was a 3-time 20-goal scorer. I mean, 4 if you want to count the half of the season in Meaney and then the rest in Carolina, right? He had the 9 goals in Minnesota and then was traded to Carolina at 14 in 36 games. And Carolina was thinking, wow. I mean, he had 30 points in 36 games, Eric, when he first went to Carolina. And then the next year, we all thought that he would be, I don't know if he'd be near a point per game guy, but we were banking on 20 plus goals from him in Carolina. And he just, remember how many times we talked about him last year? And he was given an opportunity with Aho and Teravainen and just wasn't doing anything. Now, I mean, he's getting the puck luck.
Yeah, one of the very first articles I wrote at The Athletic was about, hidden guys, people that I thought would break out, and Nino Niederreiter was on that list. So last year he made me look foolish. So maybe I was just a year off. Maybe this is it. I mean, he's been a good player for a long time, and I feel like he has all the tools. And I can remember him being in Minnesota, and you're thinking like, how is this guy not scoring more? And even when you watch him play, there's times when he jumps off the screen. It's and this year he seems to be getting it done. I thought his shooting percentage was higher too. So, I mean, I don't know if that's sustainable for him. And I don't think he scores like he's scoring right now, but he is an important player for them. And I think he's showing that he deserves those minutes. So it's going to be a cool story to follow for sure. And he's available. He's going to be available. And you had said Ned Chess earlier. I picked him up literally just before the show. So.
Oh, geez, great minds think alike. He's 19-1 to score the first goal in HS. Trocheck is 14-1. He's plus 230 to score a goal. I just rattled off. He's got points in 7 straight games. He's been shooting the puck a ton, scoring. Those are the 2 guys I'd like. I don't mind Stamkos here at plus 148 to anytime goal. He's actually 10-1 to score the first goal too. So I think, Matt, you're probably onto something. It was 6.5 when these 2 teams met the other day, but it was just great goaltending from Nedeljkovic. So I think if Reimer's in net, no disrespect to him. I know he's 8-1, but I feel like maybe we could get there for the total. But I'm going to back the Hurricanes here. I think the plus 1.5 is actually a great call if you want to get involved, maybe with some parlays or whatnot. The shot props, not a ton I love. Svechnikov has kind of burned us. He was on my list. I said to the FTN subs on the weekend, he's on my list that I'm not going to him anymore just because they have so many guys and they're just rolling through all these lines. But if Teuvo Teravainen doesn't play and Aho, Svechnikov sticks with Aho, I may actually get involved with a 2.5 minus 118. But I like Stamkos minus 148, 2.5 shots. Point is one that I usually kind of like. I like Stamkos more, and Point won't finish in my top 5 here today. But if you're like me and you like shot props and you like parlaying a bunch of them, I mean, Point is a guy that you can get involved with at minus 112, 2.5 shots. Hamilton, sometimes I see him 2.5. He's a guy that loves to shoot the puck. I think he had 7 or 8 shots there the other night. He's plus 130 at 3.5 is slightly high, but if you see him at 2.5 minus 175, I would do it. I would take that. I know he's a defenseman, but he loves to shoot. And a couple power plays, I think we'll get there. So give me the Hurricanes. I think that's it. But if you're looking for some goals, it could be some goals in that contest. You know what? Maybe we won't see any goals. The Sabres and the Islanders. Buffalo Sabres. Do you want to talk about them, Eric? I really don't.
Yeah, it's messy there. I mean,
that's an understatement. It is so messy there. It is brutal. They got New York tonight. They had New York twice last week, Eric. They lost 3-0 and 3-1. They went an entire third period down in a game without a shot on goal. I know the Islanders want to play this game where they jump on you and then they just shut things down, but I don't think that it's going to change tonight. There's no reason for me not to pick the Islanders or the under here. Am I wrong?
No way. I mean, they've given no one any reason to believe that they're going to do anything anytime soon. It's a sad state of affairs. Anyone that follows the stuff, I mean, Buffalo is a part of the country that always rates high for hockey, whether the Sabres are good or not. Sabres fans, Buffalo sports fans in general are legendary, and they deserve a good team, and they at least deserve an effort. And it's unwatchable hockey. How can you have Jack Eichel? And I won't watch them play because it's infuriating. I won't watch them play.
Yeah, and you're a hockey psycho. What's going on there?
It's absolutely terrifying.
So in season long, for people who have Taylor Hall, I mean, you got to hold, right? You can't. I don't think you can drop. I'm in one spot.
I dropped him.
You dropped him in a salary cap league, right?
And in another league.
Really?
It's not super deep benches, but I mean, no, okay. I can't. I just couldn't wait around anymore. I mean, I can't.
I get it. It's week 6 of the fantasy hockey season. What are there? If you're playing in a roto league, I think there's 15 or 16 weeks. So you get 10 weeks left.
You don't have time to mess around.
You don't have time to mess around. And if you're in a head-to-head format, playoffs likely start week 13, week 14. Yep. So basically,
if you're in first, or sure. You're, top,
but are you in
three.
First for taking Taylor Hall in the third round? Are you in first?
I don't think you are.
Yeah. I mean, you could have Mika Zibanejad and Taylor Hall on your team, and you're sitting maybe in 10th place. I have a team where I have Mika Zibanejad and I believe maybe Taylor Hall, and I'm not doing well. So I tell people all the time, like, same thing with Malkin. It's tough to trade these guys right now. I mean, you're not going to get proper value, but you also don't want to hang around and have them ruin everything for you. But I will say this for Taylor Hall. I would wait this week. I mean, the Sabres got 5 games, right? So they're going to go tonight. They're going to go tomorrow. Then they got Jersey again, and then a postponed game, and then they got Philly Saturday, Sunday. So they're going to start the week off strong with 2 games on the Monday, Tuesday, and they're going to finish strong with the Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, Taylor Hall, I mean, he's got the 1 goal. I don't care about plus minus, but he is -9, and he's got 10 points on the season. He's not even really shooting the puck. I heard the guys, Moody and DJ, last week when the Islanders and Sabres were playing, that they were going to take Taylor Hall not to have a point. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting bet. Yeah. And it worked out for them. And I was kind of looking at it myself here. Some viewers want unders. I mean, maybe it's Hall. Maybe it's just Hall is the under here. Eberle, 2.5 shots, -112. If there's one Islander, I'd lean him more so than Lee. But both of these guys have kind of been hitting. I don't think Eberle got there in his last game 1. But before that, it was 4 straight games, at least 3 shots. He had 3 shots in the 2 games against the Sabres. I just don't see a lot of offense here, Eric. I'm looking at Buffalo, 5-on-5 per 60 minutes, 1.43 goals for in the league. That is dead last. The Blackhawks are right behind them, but 1.77. Red Wings, Anaheim, and then your other team, the Preds, 1.91. They're just not scoring any goals, and they're not creating a whole lot. And to be honest, they're not giving up a whole lot either. If they could just get 3 or 4 goals a night, they'd have a few more W's. But Buffalo or Islanders in the under, just the under.
Yeah, that's what I would go. I'm just thankful that this is a 6:00 game and there's 4 or 5 other ones, so I won't have to watch it.
That's it, eh? What will you watch? Dallas and Florida? Will you watch that one? Panthers -117, 7-9 against the spread. 11-3-2 on the year. Dallas 5-3-4, +100. Dallas has a lot of games to make up. All their games postponed last week because of weather in Dallas, in Texas. A lot of snow there. I don't know. They haven't played since February 13th. I think I'm off this game. But if I had to choose a side, I may just tick the total over. I think there'd probably be some goals scored here, especially Proposky.
Yeah, I probably take the Florida. It's interesting because I wonder if there's a place somewhere where can you bet on Dallas to finish all 56 games? Because right now I would say no. I mean, they had the COVID stuff at the start of the year where they were, I think, maybe the last team to play, and now they have this crazy snowstorm, and hopefully everyone in Texas is doing okay. A part of the country that is not prepared for cold and snow. They've got their own power grid because they're Texas and they're insane. That's down. And now everyone's going to have $10,000 power bills. So it's going to be interesting if you're living in the state of Texas going forward. If you're a Dallas Stars fan, I mean, you got to hope that they turn things around. I mean, going into the playoffs last year, I get that there was the break, but before the break, they were rolling. They came into the bubble rolling, and they rolled right all the way into the final game. And this is a team I love. They're big, they're fast, their defensive core is awesome. But I mean, to me, it's crazy to say, but Dallas, Florida, I feel like is almost a must watch.
Yeah, I think it'd be highly entertaining. I mean,
Yep.
the Stars have lost 5 straight, 7 of 8. Haven't played in a while, like I mentioned. Florida is the entertaining team, right? They're the ones that will put the puck in the net, and they're putting it in the net right now. They played to the over in 5 straight games. It's like goals are happening right now with the Panthers. So I don't know if I'll pick a side here. I think I'll just if my favorite pick from this game may just be over 6. I think that and I'm a little worried if Dallas, will Dallas get there? That's my one issue, because I think Florida scores, 3 or 4 in this matchup. Khudobin hasn't been great. I expect him to get the start. He hasn't looked all that good to start the season. So I think there'll be some goals here. There's not a lot of shot props that I like. I never really get involved with Dallas, like Pavelski and Radulov. Ben, if Sagan was playing, he'd be a guy that would be on my list, but he's not going to be. I'm not seeing anything. By the way, Taylor Hall was plus 108 for a no point. Matt, would you make that bet? It's so scary making a no point bet.
I don't want to do that because I do have him in league too, and I just want him to do well. So no, I'm staying away from that.
Okay.
Oh, it's enough. Plus money though. Don't do this to me. No. Right? Final answer. No. Staying strong with that. Even though the last time EY and I stood strong on something, you made us look foolish.
It was Carolina, right? Carolina.
Yeah.
That happens. Yeah, it's not for me either, but it is an interesting bet. The guys brought it up, and it was and then I was looking at Hall. It's okay, until I see him back with Eichel, maybe it's a bet that you can continue to make. But for the shot props here, as much as I like Huberdeau, I don't expect him to get 3 shots. And again, people are asking about the under. It's well, why don't you pick the under? But under 2.5 shots is minus 200. There's just no point in really getting involved with that. The one Florida guy, I suppose, maybe Hornquist. Sometimes I see Duclair. Duclair shooting the puck a little bit more lately. He's got, I think, 5 points in his last 3 or 4 games. He's still up on that top line with Barkov and Verhaeghe. These are guys that, are shooters, and they can put the puck in the net. But I think I'm just off of this game altogether in general. First goal, Barkov. I don't know. I think I'm off of it. I think I'm off of it, EY. I'm just going to take the over. St. Louis, LA, minus 162 for the Blues, plus 140 for the Kings, 6-12 against the spread for St. Louis, 12-4 for the Kings. They've been hanging around. They've been winning some games lately. The total here is 5.5. They're 7-6-3 on the year. St. Louis, 10-6-2. EY, what do you think?
The Kings are interesting right now. Alex Alafalo is a guy that could probably be. I mean, he's probably very under-owned in most leagues. He's been really good in the last week or two. So that's a guy, and he plays, power play time. He's playing on the top line. Dustin Brown, somehow still getting it done. Yeah. If you're in a bangers leagues, this guy touches every category. He still hits a ton, shoots the puck a lot, and is an important piece for the Kings right now. It's interesting. Seeing them, they have all these young guys that are so fast, and then they have these other older guys that are just tortoise slow. So it's this really interesting mixed match. I think Drew Doughty's still a really good player. The goaltending there has been, up and down. Quick has had some moments. Peterson has had some moments. 5.5 over under. I think I go under on that. I don't see either of these teams scoring a ton, but I think that'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting game too. I'm gonna side with the Blues here. It's getting a little high for my liking, but I do like them overall. You're right. LA is interesting. They're playing good. But overall, I just look again at 5-5 numbers. They're top 10 in goals against, 5-5, expected goals against, 4 scoring chances in the top 10, high danger chances in the top 10. The Blues have a couple injuries up front. They've juggled some lines around, but it has benefited Mike Hoffman, right? We've been waiting for Hoffman. Certainly, I was waiting for Hoffman. I mean, this is a guy on DraftKings who opened up the season like 3K, I believe, and now all of a sudden, when we get to it, you're going to see that he's up near 6, but he's now getting more ice time. Right at the start of the season, he was playing 12, 13 minutes, but he played 21 minutes the other night. Actually, his last game, he played 21 minutes, 2 assists. I mean, he comes in with 2 straight multi-point games. He's shooting the puck a ton. He's got 7 shots over his last 2 games. DraftKings doesn't have him there. It might show up a little bit later on. I know other books have Hoffman 2.5 shots. I'd rather do him than David Perron. 2.5 is plus 120, but I like both of these guys. I like Braden Shen. I like the Blues quite a bit actually tonight in DFS. I like that combo of Schaffman and Shen and Hoffman. Schaffman, let's just call him Schaffman if they're going to score every night. And then the first unit I like as well with O'Reilly and Perron. They've stuck together all year, and then Jordan Kyrou is on that line as well. So I like all 5 of those forwards. Krug on the back end, Falk on the back end. Yeah, I'm into the Blues tonight, but I like Dustin Brown here, 2.5 shots at plus 120. I know that may seem scary to some people, but I've been down this road over the past couple games and had to sweat it out against Arizona. I think 2 games ago he had the shot in overtime, but 4 shots, 4-1, 3-3-1. It's been right around that mark, right hovering around 3. He is a bit of a volume shooter on that line. Follow, as you mentioned, has been pretty good as well. So not my favorite prop, but one that I'm into. But Hoffman, guys, I think he's such a streaky shooter. A lot of guys in the NHL are, right? You hear that all the time. But for me and Hoffman, I think you can get involved with just like, will he get a point? Will he score? Again, DraftKings just doesn't have it. Perron is minus 182. Yeah, I mean, Matt, do you like Hoffman? I mean, this guy, he's a volume shooter and he loves to score.
I've been on the Hoffman train. I saw a few people drop him if we're talking season long. To start the season, I just scooped him up because this is a guy who, as soon as he gets going, he's a goal scorer. I've been going after him on the goal scoring props. I've been going after him on the shot props, so I'm in on Hoffman tonight for sure. Also, I do have some breaking news that maybe we should monitor. Larry Brooks, who is a pretty good source for the Rangers, just tweeted out breaking news. Panarin is taking a leave of absence from the Rangers in aftermath of a political hit piece against him from Russia, alleging that he beat up an 18-year-old girl in Russia in 2011. Now, Larry Brooks is the only person to tweet this out so far. He does have 71,000 followers. He has come through on some pretty good news, or pretty big news. So this is something to monitor for sure. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. I did not expect you to say that when you were just like, yeah, we have some pretty breaking news, thinking a trade or something, but that is, that's wild. Yeah. I won't comment too much on that, but, the Rangers can't afford to miss Panarin, but they're going through some things. That's for sure. That is crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, they're not in action tonight. But yeah, Hoffman is 11-1, first goal, plus 180 for anytime goal. We're like Hoffman guys, like what I've seen from him lately, and I'm not buying anything from LA. They play a bit of a tight style and try to clog everything up and not generate, not give up a whole lot, but the numbers speak for itself. In my opinion, they've just still given up a lot of quality chances. Same thing with the Sharks here. They're plus 120 at home. Minnesota minus 139. The Wild 6-8 against the spread. The Sharks 9-7. San Jose 7-2. The Wild 8-6-2. So Minnesota was just off for what felt like ever, right, Eric? They hadn't played in February at all. And then their last couple games are starting to, like, they had that first game in LA where I don't even know if they had 3 shots in the first period, 3 or 4, maybe. They couldn't generate anything, and the Kings won that game, but then they bounced back against the Ducks. So 2 straight wins against Anaheim, outscoring them 8-2 over that span. Kevin Fiala has looked really good, right? We talked about him off the top, the 3 goals, the 4 points, the 10 shots over his past 2 games. I like the Wild. They're not a team that I'd like to get involved with a ton because they don't score a lot of goals, but San Jose rattled the numbers off the top, right? They're in the top 10 in every single category that you don't want to be in the top 10 in 5-on-5, allowing shots, shot attempts, high danger chances, quality chances, everything. So I'd like Minnesota. The under is probably the play here. I'm surprised it's at 6. I think it's only at 6 because the Sharks are so bad defensively and they can score a goal or two here. Like their top 6 is decent, but no, Eric Carlson, he's been a bust so far to start the season. He's been a bust actually since the trade, in my opinion. And the goaltending is not great in San Jose. So I'm going with Minnesota here. What do you think?
Yeah, Minnesota for me. They're one of my sneaky, like, cool teams to watch. I think they've got a really underrated decor that is like NHL now. You know what I mean? Like Spurgeon is. Every time you watch them, he does something like, oh, who's that guy? Who's that? It's he's one of those guys that nobody talks about, but is a really good player. Brodin, they just got Dumba back. Suter still like just eating minutes, unbelievable back there. Like this is a really good decor. I think their goaltending is sneaky good. I know I Stalock was unbelievable. He got hurt. Now they got this Kakinen. He's been really good. Cam Talbot's back for them. I wonder if they said, I don't know who's playing in net tonight, but I really like Minnesota. The biggest reason for me right now is Kirill Kaprizov. He is one of my favorite players to watch right now, man. He's just so interesting. The NHL is getting good, man. Like guys like him, and I mean, I know he's older, but he's a rookie. The Tim Stützle in Ottawa is crazy to watch. But for me, I really like Minnesota. And actually, when I made that crazy Ottawa bet, I also put a little bit of money on Minnesota to win the cup as well. So,
Whew. All right. Yeah, Kaprizov looks great. Matt Zuccarello is back into the lineup, and say what you want about him, but when he's healthy, he's playing. He's a contributor, man. He's
so
good.
Effective.
He started on the fourth line the other night. And then he bumped up to the second line. He had a goal and an assist. I'm going to bring him up in DK, but he's fairly cheap. There's just a new strategy. It's like play Matthews and McDavid and just whatever value that you can find. And he was one that worked out for everybody at FTN over the weekend. He was a value. He was $3K. I believe he's hovering around that mark too. For shot props, I always like Couture at 2.5 plus money. I don't know why he's always plus money, but he is he's everything to San Jose. I mean, he plays in all situations. He's the guy who leads the team in ice time among forwards. That is, Brent Burns plays a lot. And then Fiala, geez, he's minus 182. He was minus 162. I swear when I looked this morning, that's a little high, but you can include it into parlays and then, it makes you feel a little bit better. But I do like Fiala to get 3 shots here tonight. And I think he finds the back of the net as well. So I'm just taking a look at first goals. Sorry, guys. I thought I had it written down for you, but Fiala for first goal, 11-1. He's plus 180 for an anytime goal. They're going to get some chances. They're absolutely going to get some chances against the Sharks. Every team getting chances against the Sharks. Maybe chances here in this next game, but I don't know if there'll be goals. And it's crazy to say with all the firepower that the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights have. This is the 4th straight meeting between these two teams. All 3 have gone under the number. And it's not surprising when you look at the goaltenders. The number 1 goalie in fantasy so far this season is Philip Grubauer. He's got 9 wins, a 1.67 goals against average, and 936 save percentage and 2 shutouts. The number 2 goalie in fantasy this season is Marc-Andre Fleury. He's got 7 wins, a 1.71 goals against average, and a 935 save percentage, also 2 shutouts. The total's at 5.5 here. The Avs are favored minus 124, Vegas plus 108. Does the trend continue? It's a little scary. I talked to Matt before we came on. Been on the under all three games, wrote the article for Tipico. The Tipico sports book out in New Jersey, look for that. More content if you're looking for bets. We're writing stuff for them every single day from FTN. For the outdoor game, I don't know if I'll go back to the under. It is scary with all these offenses, but I like the Avs tonight, man. I think that what I saw from them in the outdoor game, now they're fully healthy. Landeskog back in the lineup, Makar back in the lineup, Taves playing great, Bowen Byron playing phenomenal. I give them the slight edge. I think they're a little quicker. I like their defense a little bit more. I think they have a little bit more firepower. It's so tough, but I'm leaning with the Avs here.
I'm going Avs too. I mean, I'm still waiting for them to completely show up. Like I don't feel, and I think it's injury. It's it's no training camp. It's tons of injuries on defense. So they haven't had their full complement yet. Eric Johnson is still a player that they really rely on. I don't think he's playing yet. The fact that their goaltending has been this good and they're not like dominating. I thought that Colorado Avalanche would absolutely walk over teams, especially, San Jose, Anaheim, Los Angeles, and that hasn't happened yet. I think it's going to happen. And I don't know if it starts today, but I would definitely lean Avalanche, man. Any team with McKinnon and Makar, that walk in the line. I don't know if you saw that in the outdoor Tahoe game. I don't even know how a human being can skate like that. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. If you've ever been on a pair of skates and you see that and it doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what else could.
Yeah, I know.
I would fall so fast trying to do that at the blue line.
I would blow both of my knees out. Just even attempting it. It's insane. It's insane.
And people make fun of like edge work in hockey, but like that's edge work right there to a T. If you can do that, you're going to make everyone fall over. The kid's ridiculous.
He's incredible. And how he keeps the puck, like the puck is always in, he can shoot it at all times. And that's what makes him so dangerous. It's like, not only is he skating like that and moving you around, is like, you need to try to stay in front of him because he's always ready to put the puck on the net. Man, he's, in my opinion, one of the best defensemen in the league. This is going back to me again, but wrote an article and I said, if you're in a dynasty league and Cal Makar isn't one of the first 5 players picked, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And I still stand by that. This guy is going to be dominant and unbelievable in hockey and in fantasy hockey for years. He's one of my favorite players in the NHL right now.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better, which is the scary
thing. Only going to get better.
The way it's that insane. He walks that line is it's phenomenal. Yeah, it really is. He's breaking ankles. He's not on the shot prop list here tonight, though. That's somebody fair. Who is. Well, if he was on there, I may take him. But Rantanen, this is just my go-to all the time, guys. I will always do it. It's minus 139. It's my favorite one. Mikko Rantanen over 2.5 shots. McKinnon's here 3.5 minus 200. That's very, very high. But other books have him right around minus 175 for 3.5. I would take that. I mean, he's been hitting it at ease. This guy, I believe I saw a stat from that outdoor game. Geez, man, what was it? He has the longest active streak anyways for just at least a shot on goal, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 200s. Like this guy just shoots the puck every single game and he's not afraid to. And he gets them off the rush, right? He end to end enters the zone with control, puts it on net. He's got just such a great release, but Rantanen is my favorite on the board. I won't get involved with anyone else. I thought about Landeskog. He's somebody that kind of hits, but I think Rantanen and McKinnon are the shooters in that line. One more game to talk to, and we'll wrap up with some DFS plays. It's Arizona and Anaheim. The Yotes minus 148 at home, 9-8 against the spread, 7-7-3 on the year. The Ducks 10-8 against the spread, 6-9-3 plus 128. So we're going to see that they did NHL debut. I think I'm excited. Could hardly get it out. Of Trevor Zegras. It's been what I think was a long time coming. Ducks can't score. They really need this guy. He was practicing yesterday on the second line with Sam Steele and Jacob Silverberg. He's going to be probably, I haven't even checked, actually. I should check that. DK, he's probably like min price. He's not somebody that I would, he's 2.5. He's not somebody that I would like drop a superstar stud for, but I think you just need to take, you need to go and grab him in redraft leagues and keeper in dynasty leagues. He's probably already owned. I mean, this guy he's an absolute baller. He tore it up Boston University, San Diego Gulls in the AHL. He had 9 points in 9 games. If you were watching the World Juniors, he just crushed it. He had 18 points and 7 goals in 7 games. Like he was the best player on the ice, I think, in the entire tournament. He was just so good. He's going to get power play time. They didn't call him up just to play 10 minutes a game. I think they're going to give this kid an opportunity. It's not enough for me to feel good about the Ducks here. This is a game I'm probably not going to bet. The total's at 5. Seems a little low, but anytime you have Kemper and Gibson in net, it's probably, in my opinion, just means like not a lot of goals in this game. You agree?
Yeah, I would side with that. The Yotes have been interesting, right? The Katie Strain piece came out, and it's just, Buffalo could always say it could be worse. We could be Arizona. Like it's an absolute mess, but not on the ice. I mean, they're an interesting team. an anomaly for me. I think I still go Yotes here. Connor Garland is just out of nowhere. I mean, last year, out of nowhere, this guy is one of the most effective players right now in the NHL. Tiny little dude, but just scrappy, gets in there, shoots the puck a ton, just unbelievable self-belief. And if you can be that size of player and have that kind of self-belief, more power to you, man. Go for it. He's a really fun player to watch right now.
Yeah, if you can find him 2.5, it's not on DraftKings Sportsbook, but you can find him 2.5. It is the one guy that I usually get involved with from Arizona. That's usually it. The Ducks, I'm not interested. Even like Getzlaff is 1.5. I just won't even bother. I won't go there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Zegras and his NHL debut. He's going to be quite the player for the Ducks, and maybe Drysdale will be the next one to get called up. We'll see what happens there. Let's move over to DraftKings. Let's just take a look at the center position here. We got Matthews 9K, McKinnon 8.8, Eichel 7.6, Pavelski 7.2, Braden Point 7, Barkov 6.8, Barzell in there at 6.5, and then Tavares, Shen, and Trocheck 6.2 to round out the top 10 centers on DK. I kind of was joking over the weekend that the new DFS strategy was just like, let's just jam in Matthews and McDavid every time these guys play, but why not, right? It's not even a joke. I think in tournaments, it's tough because everybody is going to be on them, but when you fade them and they go off like this, you're absolutely screwed. So if you're into playing multiple lineups, I think you can get unique and get different maybe by fading them, but I think the play is to just, he's so hot right now and he's shooting the puck that you just jam him in and then you take other, stances with just different value across the board elsewhere, right? Not breaking any news here. Matthews is good, but I'd rather him than McKinnon. Just rattled off, the unders in Vegas and Colorado lately and how good Fleury has been. Eichel is like, seriously, we have to be playing multiple lineups to get involved with the Sabres here tonight. I'm not going to, put 3 lineups in and have any exposure to Buffalo at all. I just don't feel like there's a reason to. Braden Point, I don't mind, but I'm into this Carolina team. I like Trocheck. He's averaging 14.3 DK points per game. It's the 3rd most here at the center position, right? It's just 4th most, actually. Like, you got Eichel there, 12.1. He's like $1,400 more in such a tough spot. So I like Shen. He stands out at 6.3. I like Trocheck. He stands out at 6.2. O'Reilly's not for me. I'm not interested in him. But there's not a ton of value here at the center position. It's mostly all the value is just at the wing. So I think if you just spend up at center, that's the play. If you want to, value play at Zegras at 2.5 min price is somebody that I would take a shot on here tonight. Why not? We already talked about the talent, the upside that he has. You move over to the wing position here: Stamkos, Marner, Pacioretty, Rantanen, Garland, Perron, Fiala, Svechnikov, Taylor Hall, Hoffman. It's a lot of the guys I've been talking about throughout this show, guys. Like I like Minnesota tonight. I think they're sneaky. If you can, spend up on Fiala. I like the Hurricanes. Haven't even got to the price point of Natchez and Niederreiter. And then, I like the Blues. So like Hoffman has really jumped up in price. You just look at the back. It was 5.5 the last time the Blues played. Before that, he was 4.6. The end of January, he was 3.6. So his price has really jumped up, but he's got 14 points all of a sudden in 17 games. And when he gets on a run, he just gets going. Who would you spend up on at wing? Do you see a bounce back here for Tampa? Like, is it Marner, Rantanen? What do you think?
I like Fiala. He's been like a player that has looked good all year, but he's feeling it right now. And when a player like that starts feeling it, kind of shooting it from everywhere, he's always been a player that, like, once you see that kind of like belief in his game, sign me up all day long. So that's, I think having, like you said, it's hard to go away from someone. And for me, like, if I'm paying up for Matthews until he proves me wrong. And he hasn't done that yet. So I would start with Matthews and then build my lineup around him.
Yeah, and just try to take some of this value. So Niederreiter is 4.9 and Natchez is 4.2. If you want to go all in on the line or just take a piece of it, it's fine. It doesn't necessarily correlate because they're not all together like chart checks on that first unit. But Svechnikov up with Aho. And I think it's an underrated stack because I don't think a lot of people want to get involved with Carolina against Tampa Bay and Vasilevsky. I think people are a little uneasy about that, and I get it. But this is a team that controls the puck. They put a lot of pucks on net, and they just had 4 goals against Vasilevsky just in the last game. So I think it's an underrated GPP tournament stack. I think if you're playing cash, the way to go is to get involved with Toronto, Matthews, and Marner. In tournaments, maybe it's Nylander and Tavares, just to get a little unique and a little different and just picking on this Calgary team a little bit. But let's not forget this Florida team either at the wing position. Huberdeau's 5'3", Verhaeghe is 4'6", Duclair is 3'8". I think that Florida, as I said, they played the over in 5 straight games. They're scoring goals right now. Dallas hasn't played in what seems like a couple weeks. So offense there for sure as well. And then I'll throw it over to Matt and get your thoughts, Matt. But Kyrou is 4'9" into that blue stack as well. And then Matt Zuccarello is 2'9". He's 2'9". I know it doesn't seem like a sexy pick, but I'm telling you, this Sharks team is not good. They're not great. They grade out just the same way that Anaheim does, and Minnesota just went into Anaheim and won 5-1. Zuccarello had a goal and 2 points. He played 14 minutes. He's played in 3 games now since being inserted into the lineup for the Wild. He's got points in 3 games. He's got 5 shots over that span. He's just a cheap way of getting involved with Matthews if you want to go all the way up at the top with some of those guys. I will fade that Vegas and Colorado game just because of what I've seen now for 3 straight games. I'm not spending up for Pacioretty or Stone or Rantanen or McKinnon. If there was one, it would be McKinnon. That would be the guy that I would spend up on. Anything else that I've missed out for the Wings, in your opinion? Where are the goals?
I love the Huberdeau at that price. I mean, that seems crazy, doesn't it? Like when you said it, I was like, what? And then I was like, I started looking.
Getting no respect.
It's, I mean, even the Vegas people are disrespecting him. I mean, sign me up. I like going with a Minnesota stack tonight against San Jose for all the reasons you said earlier. Like they're, ranked highly in all the categories that you don't want your team to be ranked highly. And so, someone like Fiala, putting him with Eriksson Ek and a person that not a lot of people are talking about right now, but is playing on the number 1 and playing second power play is Addison from Minnesota. And he looked really good, a rookie, another guy that can skate, like, just crazy distributing the puck. So that's like a good kind of like 3-way stack. Like if they're on the power play and it's, you get 2 assists and 1 goal, like it's such an advantage of having a stack like that in DFS. So that's a team that I would be attacking as Minnesota tonight, using their players all over the place because they're available and they're affordable.
Over at defense, Theodore 6'5", or actually I had it sorted by fantasy points per game. Hedman is up at the top at 7, Burns 6'8", Hamilton 6'7", Theodore, the leader among all active defensemen playing tonight in fantasy points per game on DraftKings, 12.5. He is 6.5. Riley is 6'4". Our guy, Makar, 6'3". Pietrangelo is 6'2". Chikrin all the way up at 6'1". He's having a nice season, but 6'1". Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 6K. Doughty, 5'9". If there's a defenseman I'm spending up for, it's probably Hamilton. As I'm all in on Carolina, I like it. And then Riley, I like at 6'4" as well. I mean, Makar is mispriced. I have no problem with Makar and Theodore, but again, I just feel like just that trend is going to continue here with just low scoring. These teams it's just almost like they're just, let's worry about defense and instead of our offense and trying to eliminate, what both teams can do offensively. But again, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I'm going back to these same teams. Like I like Dumba tonight. I like Justin Falk tonight. I like Torrey Krug. I like Riley, like my favorite stacks, St. Louis, Minnesota, Toronto, and Carolina. So those are just the teams that I find myself getting involved with. Like Dumba is down at 4.6. I like that price quite a bit. If Darling was playing anybody else but the Islanders, 4.5 seems like a bit of a misprice for him. I think that's fairly low, but Yandel 3.9. Ekblad is more expensive, but this is another guy just putting the puck on net, eating a lot of ice time. So those are kind of my guys tonight. In goal, as we move over, Binnington 8.5, Varlamov 8.4, Anderson 8.3, Kemper 8.2. Bobrovsky 7.9. No thanks. Vasilevsky 7.8. But I like Carolina, so I'm not going to go there. These goalies like Fleury and Grubauer, as they've been the number 1 and number 2 fantasy goalies, they're so cheap. I mean, 7-7 for Grubauer and 7-6 for Fleury. I have no problem spending on those guys. Like, I'm not afraid of the matchup, Eric.
Oh yeah, I like that. Kepper that's expensive, but that seems safe to me. I get the Zegras is going to play, but he just seems super safe to me.
Yeah. And then Gibson 7-3. I know he's been a little hot and cold recently, but I think the play is just to spend down on goaltending. Like, I don't want to spend all my money up at the top. Like Binnington 8-5. It's just not for me. I know on other sites he's a little bit cheaper, but these goalies, you just want the save bonus. Even if they allow 2 or 3 and you get 35 plus saves, they're going to return value, and you're going to be fine in net. So that's where I'm going here tonight. Maddie, what do you think, man?
It's all about the mini stacks. That's all I'm going for here. I think Dumba's price is criminal. That is way too cheap. Just because the guy's just coming back. $4,600 for Matt Dumba. Sign me up any day of the week. I do like Chychrun, though, at 6,100. I think he's just been consistent all year long, putting the puck in the net, getting hits, blocks, everything you need from the guy. And Cale Makar, I don't think defense is a spot you spend up on. I think you got to save some money when you throw in Matthews. I think in a general DFS standpoint, too, when you see Matthews and you see McDavid on the same slate, I think you just go yes, and then figure the rest out later. I think that has to be the strategy at this point with those guys.
I think so too. I know it's, I mean, last week I brought this up with Cecil, and I was saying, like, is it like for people who were playing NBA back in the day with Westbrook, and his price was so high, but he kept getting a triple double every night. And if you faded him, you were burned. So it was just like plug him in and try to find value. I think if you're putting in one lineup tonight in a tournament, you probably don't do it, because just think of all the different scenarios out there. If people are putting in 150 lineups, I'm telling you, they're going to have a lot of Matthews. They probably have a very similar lineup to your one. So maybe you be a little unique that way. But if you're playing cash, you're playing head-to-heads, you're playing double ups, I think you have to have Matthews in there, just the run that he's on. You put him in there, and then you try to get different with some of these value. There's a lot of value in Minnesota and St. Louis. There's tons on the wing with Florida, with the guys that we mentioned over Hagee and Duclair. So there's lots of value to be had out there, guys. Have some fun. Try to be unique with your lineups. You got a record for us, Matt? I don't know. Friday seemed like it was okay. Saturday wasn't good for all the FTN subscribers, but we bounced back yesterday. So we're hoping to bounce back tonight as well.
No, Friday was good for you. I mean, before the call, you didn't think Friday was good for you, but it was great. 75% clip rate. You got the Carolina puck line, and you don't give out a lot of puck lines, so that's a good one there. Carolina money line, Winnipeg money line, you nailed. The only thing you missed on was the Winnipeg-Vancouver over. And other than that, that brings you to 50 for 77. So you're boogieing along. Slow start, but you picked it up quite a lot.
It was a slow start. I was like, Mayo, you sure you want me to give picks every day on this show?
Terrifying start.
Oh, man, terrifying for me too, especially when it's just like, here's 7 picks. And then it's like, wow, 6 of them are lost. So maybe I'll only give 2 or 3, but I got lots of picks again today. We'll start with you, Eric. Is there one like your favorite? Maybe we seem to like Minnesota as a group here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I mean, that's not a lot of people are talking about that or talking about Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, I like them, and I mean mostly just because they're playing San Jose. It's still a mess there. They can't get a save. Burns is still an effective player, but they're just not the team that they used to be. So powerful for so long, but this is definitely a sad time to see. Couture is everything for them. Timo Meier is a bit of a letdown again. Still a guy that we've been talking about for a couple of years, but for me, yeah, the team to watch tonight. And if I'm saying they're going to win, I'm betting on Minnesota.
Giddy up. All right, Rantanen 2.5 shots. I like that one. It's probably my favorite one. I like Stamkos as well, 2.5 shots. If you can find Matthew Tkachuk, I don't mind it. Don't hate it. 2.5 shots for Matthew Tkachuk. I'm fine with McKinnon at 3.5, but it can't be minus 200, minus 170, 175. It's fine. I wouldn't go over 4.5. I like Fiala over 2.5 as well. Like, you can put in Fiala, Rantanen, Stamkos. That'd be a pretty decent parlay. I usually try to go 2 or 3. I know it's fun to have 5 or 6 on there, but it's tough to hit all those. But other ones I like: Hoffman, Eberle, Brown, Dustin Brown plus money. I think it's worth a chance, worth a shot there. So I like Toronto. I like the Islanders. I like Minnesota, St. Louis, and Carolina. If you're looking for some unders or some overs, I think the Dallas-Florida game over, probably the stone cold lock would be the Islanders and the Buffalo. I mean, nothing's a lock in the NHL, guys. Just take that with a grain of salt. But if there's one pick tonight, it's probably Islanders-Buffalo under, right? The Sabres haven't really showed me a whole lot offensively. And then I wasn't going to put this on my card, but I don't care. Whatever. Colorado. I think Colorado wins tonight. I think that they beat Vegas. But my favorite's Toronto. My favorite ones in a parlay, you can go Toronto, Minnesota, St. Louis, and the Islanders. It's decent. Have some fun with the rest. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll be back on Wednesday from Eric Young, myself, Chris Meaney, and Maddie Best producing the show for us. Thanks so much for hanging out, and use the promo code MMN over at prizepicks.com. Enjoy the ice. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Cheers.